Hi, my name's Karen. This is my GoFundMe, and it's an incredibly difficult thing to do because I'm directly asking for help for myself and my family. I'm sitting here in my garden and it stopped raining and it's a beautiful day now, and I'm sitting under my pear tree, which is bearing a lot of fruit. And behind me is a grapevine which I planted about 17, 18 years ago. This is the first year it's got grapes on it. Let me show you. Hang on. I'm really quite pleased and excited about my grapes. They're only little. They probably taste awful. Look. But nevertheless, they're there, which gives me some joy. This is my home of nearly 20 years. It's modest, and it's been a refuge for myself, my daughters and my granddaughters since 2006, when I purchased it, having left my husband and the business that we had together. There had been some history of severe violence, and coming towards a new start in life was what we needed to do at that point. Subsequently, a few years later, after that, my new partner died quite prematurely, and I started a business back in 2014. Somebody said I was a bit like one of those super bouncy balls, because I have a tendency to bounce back, but there's only so many times you can bounce back before, it takes its toll on you. But I heard that they were making a new adaptation of the Poldark series, and Poldark was written here in Perranporth in Cornwall, and it was something that was I had a really strong connection with. So I started a tour company and it went very well. It was lovely. I did a bit of work with lots of guests, mainly from America, actually, as it happened, because it was networked over there and very successfully too. And I hosted a few Poldark balls, and so we had fun. And year on year, the business got bigger and doubled in size, and I had the opportunity in 2019 to take on what had been a very dated old bed and breakfast, if I chose to. So the gentleman who owned it, I'm very careful about calling him a gentleman now, had inherited it from his late wife, who died in 2018. He didn't want to do the work in the place, so he wanted to go and find a new person in his life, and so he wanted to get off. And we had a contract for me to take it on and turn it into a hotel with a view to buy it subsequently. So this was in 2019, and we all know what happened in 2020. So I remember contacting him at the beginning of 2020 when we were told the really rather awful news that we were not going to be allowed to open for Easter, as we had hoped, because of the COVID lockdown. And this was the point at which I realised that he was more the person that his daughter had told me he was, rather than the person I thought he was. He turned to me and he said verbatim, "I don't know what you expect me to do about it. You signed a contract. It's not my fault there's a pandemic." That was when I knew I was in trouble, because I'd already invested 50,000 of my own money into the building, and it all went downhill a bit from there. So fast forwarding, we launched a restaurant. We won awards for the hotel. We managed, and sometimes we were full and very busy, and sometimes we were quieter, and of course we had to weather the storms of the subsequent lockdowns, and we made the best of it. And in between the things that we couldn't do there, we were here as a family in our home. And then came 2022 when I realised that there was one opportunity for me to buy the building from him, and it was there and then, because the interest rates were accelerating at a rate of knots. So I made him a very good offer. But he got greedy, and he said because the price of properties in Cornwall had gone through the roof because of COVID, he wanted a lot more for it. I said it wasn't worth it, and I couldn't raise it. And it took him 7 months to finally accept my offer, by which time, of course, the mortgage had disappeared and the rates had massively gone through the roof. So he ruined it for both of us, really, because he's had it on the market now since October 2023 and he can't sell it. So he moved, but the ruination came after we had an agreed leaving date. I told him we would be leaving at the end of the 2023 season, or I could cancel all the bookings and hand him the keys back. The choice was his. I couldn't pay him any more rent. I had too much in the way to pay for tax and various other things, and I had lots of members of staff, and I could either cancel all the bookings that we had, and he could just carry on straight away, or he said no. He offered me a longer lease, which indicated that he really wasn't understanding what I was saying, that the business wasn't viable. Anyhow, we had an agreed date to leave, and that was the end of October, the 31st of October 2023. My daughter had paid for us to go on holiday. She'd booked a holiday months and months in advance, paying for it bit by bit, for the middle of October. So we actually left for a week away on the 16th, and my staff were doing the shutdown of the hotel incrementally. We'd stopped taking additional bookings. We closed off the top bedrooms. We had a couple downstairs, and we had some dinner bookings, but it wasn't very much. And we were in the last throes of closing the business down with a view to reopening a restaurant somewhere else, because we had all our own equipment and everything. Well, this was the plan. On October the 17th, which was a Tuesday morning, things went somewhat different. My front of house manager got there to try and open up and couldn't, and was met on the other side by my landlord and 4 other men pretending to be bailiffs. And they barred her way. They had changed all the locks. She actually just then informed him there were some guests in one of the bedrooms. That was somewhat of a shock to him. And that she intended to give them their breakfast and look after them. And she called the head chef. And then from there on was a really interesting journey of 7 months of listening to so many lies be told about me, which made me feel paranoid. I could barely walk out into the village that I've lived in for nearly 20 years, where I've served on the council, where I've been an employer of many, many people, where I swim with the local swimming group, where I sing with the local choir, where I do lots of work for various bits and pieces, where I've got loads of other businesses here who I count as my friends as well. But I was being told that the things that he was saying about me were extraordinary, and I got my solicitor to send him some warnings about defamation of character and libel, and he literally just didn't care at all. Subsequently, the mediation that we were forced to take made a mockery of anything called justice. And despite me having 966 pages of evidence of all the money he'd had from me, which was approximately 130,000 in cash and about 120,000 that I'd spent on his building over the years, including re-plumbing and rewiring and making it safe, and re-roofing, huge amounts, not just cosmetic stuff. And basically looking after a whole load of things, because it had been 20 years of complete neglect by him and his late wife. Even though she was a lovely lady, there was a lot of shortcuts that we'd found in the building, like, you know, sticking plasters, band-aids put over live wires behind mirrors and things. So yeah, I mean, it was a dangerous building when we took it. So there we have it. All the evidence counted for nothing in mediation, and it was set square against no evidence provided by him, because you cannot evidence lying. But nevertheless, he's now living the life of Riley with more money, a building he can't get rid of because he's still being greedy about it, living off another lady somewhere who's got a couple of houses in here and a couple of houses in Spain. So he's done quite nicely for himself. Just playing the big I am. And he has perpetrated the complete destruction of my family. Where we used to provide food in our restaurant for people, we now get our food from the local food bank. So at least once a week I go down there, and then I have to supplement it with what we can afford. We're living on benefits. My daughter is exceptionally ill. She had a huge breakdown after he trashed her yoga studio, which was a very sacred place for her. He broke her belongings. He stole her belongings. He lied that they weren't there. He told lies about my other daughter's boyfriend. And he's broken my grandchildren's spirit. And that's what hurts more than anything. When she was 4 years old, little Ruby actually showed him how to strip wallpaper. And yeah. And now she's quite an upset little girl. They are both very quiet now. They won't talk about the potential of losing my home, because this is the house that they've always known from the day they were born. And I want it to be there for them still. I have nothing else. I don't have a pension. I don't have a holiday home. I am basically Liv's carer now. She can't be left alone for long periods. She's on huge amounts of medication for her mental health problems and for her neurological problems, which cause her such immense pain. And she has had some surgery on and off over the last couple of years for various different gynecological problems as well. She's having a very miserable existence. One of her diagnoses is a suicidal ideation. And she has categorically told me, and she's told other people as well, I cannot survive this. If we have to leave here, I cannot survive this. And if that doesn't break my heart, I don't know what does. So I am just at everybody's mercy. I've tried everything. I've spoken to everybody. I read the insolvency rules that said at the end of within 3 years, they either have to sell your house and pull out all the equity and give it to all your creditors. Sorry, that's my dog. That's my dog trying to pick pears off a tree. I kid you not. She's eyeing them up. And she's got one, right. I don't think I've ever known a dog actually just pick their own pears. So she, she said she couldn't survive it. And with suicidal ideation, it's a constant daily battle to decide whether you can get through another day. And I kind of get it, because this has really taken its toll on me in a really huge way. I've had friends trying to help me put this appeal together. I've spoken to bankruptcy professionals, and I was telling you, I've read all of it. It said at the end of 3 years that trustees have the option of returning the benefit of the property to you. So I've got the Damoclean sword hanging over me. But recently, the bankruptcy professional told me, they won't do that. they'll take it from you. In 100% of the cases, even if you have got people. If you've got 10 disabled children living in your house, they will still have it. Please help us. This is all I've got left. Thank you ever so much. I'm going to thank you in advance for anything that you can do to help me. Spread the word. Donate if you can. If I can make sure the house is looked after, I can just fight on, because believe me, I will fight. I will fight. And those who know me know I will fight. Thank you.